The very first bill I signed into law as president was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Restoration Act. It was a big step toward making sure every worker in this country, man or woman, receives equal pay for equal work. I signed this law for women like my mother, a single mother who paid her way through college and made huge contributions to a workforce that wasn't always fair to her. I signed this law for women like my grandma, who woke up every morning to take a bus to her job at the bank. She worked hard. She was good at what she did. But time and again, she was passed over for some promotions because she was a woman.
Lilly Ledbetter, an activist whose fight for pay equity led to passage of the landmark Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009, died on Saturday. She was 86 years old. NPR's Chandelice Duster is here to help us remember Ledbetter and her legacy. Hi there.
Hi.
So Chandelice, just start by telling us a bit about Lilly Ledbetter and her life.
When I spoke with her longtime speaking manager, Jody Solomon, she called her fierce, a crusader, and a really good friend. She was born in Jacksonville, Alabama, and worked as a supervisor at a Goodyear tire plant in Gadsden, Alabama, when she found out she was being paid less than her male coworkers for the same job. She ultimately filed a complaint with the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission and a lawsuit. She won, but the Supreme Court ultimately ruled that her claim was filed too late. Still, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg challenged Congress to take up the issue of fair pay, and that culminated in the Fair Pay Act of 2009. In the decades since her case, her story still resonates. Just last week, Ledbetter was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award from Advertising Week for her activism on equal pay. A movie called Lilly that is based on her life is being shown at screenings across the country. And former President Barack Obama, who signed the bill named after her into law, also paid tribute to Ledbetter. He said in a statement that she did what so many Americans before her have done, setting her sights high for herself and even higher for her children and grandchildren.
I mean, this case was quite monumental. Let's take a listen to some of what former President Obama had to say back in 2009.
This is only the beginning. I know that we stay focused, as Lilly did, and keep standing for what's right, as Lilly did. We will close that pay gap, and we will make sure that our daughters have the same rights, the same chances, and the same freedoms to pursue their dreams as our sons.
How have her activism and the legislation affected the pay gap between men and women?
Her activism has led to changes, especially when it comes to pay in the workplace, including allowing workers to have more time to present a pay discrimination case. And while there is more work to be done on pay equity, there has been some progress. The Pew Research Center released a report last year that shows the gender pay gap has narrowed. 40 years ago, women earned 65 cents for every dollar that men earned. Fast forward to 2022, women earned 82 cents for every dollar that men did.
As you've just been describing, this was a fight that was incredibly meaningful to Ledbetter. I know that back in 2009, she shared some advice for working women with NPR's Michelle Martin. Let's take a listen.
I would like to tell the young women who are out there working to be aware of what's happening to them in their job and to keep their goals set high and to strive to achieve them and step up, don't step back to get what they're entitled to, because we do live in a great country.
And Chandelice, how would you characterize her legacy when it comes to young women in the workplace?
Her case has inspired some women to become bolder about advocating for themselves and their pay in the workplace. Fatima Goss-Graves, who is president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center, remembered Ledbetter in a statement saying, even into her 80s, Lilly never hesitated to hop on planes to speak to women across the country about why they must actively fight for wage equality. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi praised Ledbetter for her work and said her name is synonymous with courage, opportunity, and progress.
That's NPR's Chandelice Duster. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
By the time I get to Arizona, by the time I get to Arizona, by the time I get to Arizona,
We're off to Arizona this week for our series on presidential swing states called We the Voters. It's a state where election officials are getting a lot of violent threats. We're going to hear some of them, including an anti-Semitic slur in this next conversation. All Things Considered host Elsa Chang and her team have been reporting from Arizona, and I caught up with her for a preview.
Hello. This is amazing, Abe, because I never get to talk to you. Our sleep schedules are completely opposite.
Yeah, I'm the ghost of NPR West. You get to be in the sunlight, so there you go. Yeah. So you've been reporting on all kinds of stories in Arizona. Latino voters and how they're changing their views on abortion, Spanish language radio network that's fighting disinformation, and also how the biggest voting jurisdiction there, Maricopa County, is handling election security. A lot of stuff.
Yeah. And, we wanted to focus on Maricopa County because it's probably the second largest voting jurisdiction in the entire country. Like, the 2.5 million voters in that county helped deliver the entire state of Arizona to President Biden back in 2020, which is when Arizona became a true battleground state.
Yeah, I remember so much controversy over how the voting went down in Maricopa County. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I mean, Biden won Arizona by a razor-thin margin, just by over 10,000 votes. And really soon after that, there were all these allegations in Maricopa County about voter fraud, conspiracy theories. There was so much litigation, and there were so many investigations, but in the end, there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud.
Yeah, which makes being an election official in Maricopa County probably the most stressful job in America.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is exactly what we heard from Stephen Richer. He's the recorder of Maricopa County. That means he's in charge of voter registration and early voting, which accounts for like the vast majority of voting in that county. And he told me while he's been in this recorder job, people have threatened his safety, his family, his life. Let's take a listen.
In person, you have people who come up and, they jostle you, they push you, they bang on your windshield, and so many emails, social media messages. The garden variety is you're a traitor and you're going to hang in Gitmo.
I mean, didn't one state party official talk about you getting lynched, or you should be getting lynched?
Yeah,
in the video.
I mean, at that point, because that was in 2024, I was sort of numb to it. But what was sad about that one was that when she said that, people were cheering. That's not heartwarming as somebody who would prefer to not be lynched.
I read that you got voicemails on your cell phone telling you to run and hide.
Run and hide. You're not going to make it to your next meeting. We're going to go after your kids. Kids aren't off limit. Guy in Texas who's now in jail. I want to put that Jew in the oven so badly that I can taste it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that feel? I have never been the target.
I mean,
threats like that.
When those calls were made, they would be made during some pretty emotional times, and so it's harrowing.
So, wow, also hearing Stephen Richer there talk about what he's going through makes me very grateful that people like him are willing to do that job.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Can't wait to hear the whole story later today on All Things Considered. That is our colleague, the great Elsa Chang, who's been reporting with her team in Arizona. Elsa, thanks.
Thank you. So great to talk to you, A.
How many are not under the age of 30? 20-somethings? Let me hear from the 20-somethings. Yeah. These are the dumbest people I've ever met in my life.
Anti-hustle. Have you heard of this term? Apparently, it is becoming quite popular. It is used to describe certain jobs where you can work when you like, from where you like, and mostly how you like. So you can do your bit and call it a day. This is an anti-hustle work life, and it has become the war cry of younger workers, the Gen Z, those born between 1997 and 2012. That's the Gen Z. With its oldest members turning 27 years old, this generation makes up a significant chunk of the workforce. But this so-called anti-hustle mode has also earned them quite the reputation. No points for guessing. It's not a good one. Gen Z is widely considered an employer's nightmare, and survey after survey shows this. A new one is out. It says that 1 in 6 companies do not want to hire Gen Z. They say Gen Z is entitled, easily offended, unable to handle feedback, lacking in motivation, professionalism, strong work ethic, and communication skills. That's quite the list. It makes you think, what doesn't Gen Z lack? Apparently, the ability to make things worse. Over the past few years, the young haven't helped their case by making up these work trends: quiet quitting, lazy jobs, mouse jiggling, where you only pretend to work by moving your computer mouse, that's mouse jiggling apparently, or conscious unbossing, meaning consciously choosing not to be a boss or a manager. 69% Gen Z say they do not want to be middle managers because it's too high stress and low reward. I don't want to question the obvious lack of logic here. Maybe there is a secret sauce to jumping from intern to CEO. Maybe TikTok holds the answers. Who knows? But the fact remains, the young are not seen as great employees. Nearly half of the hiring managers find Gen Z the most challenging generation to work with. This is not to say that all of Gen Z is a personality hire or someone who is hired for their so-called vibes. That's a personality hire apparently. Instead of their skills, they're hired for their vibes. There are a lot of factors at play here. For starters, the current workforce is not ready for Gen Z. Let me give you some examples. Most young workers want time flexibility. A quarter of them say that their productivity peaks at night. So they want to work at night. But in this world of 9 to 5, that's not going to fly. Take, for instance, job hopping. Young workers are willing to change their careers 3 times. Careers, not jobs. 3 times in their lifetime. But for traditional employers, this is a red flag. Plus, there is generational friction. Every generation thinks that the young are worse than them. And this is only normal. Research proves this, and so do headlines. Until a decade ago, do you know what they were saying about millennials? They're bad employees, they lack work ethic, they're lazy, they're entitled. It's a circle of life and everything. But intellectualizing aside, my point is quite simple. Companies may not want to hire Gen Z, but they will have to, sooner or later, because they are the future of work. In fact, by next year, Gen Z will form a quarter of the global workforce. So unless the older generation is planning a coup, they will have to focus on solutions, like better training or adaptability. Gen Z has a lot of work to do as well. Historically speaking, this is the most privileged generation. They grew up with the internet, with technology. For them, all kinds of resources are one click away. It's about time that they check their privilege. The fact that they can afford to quiet quit or afford to get lazy jobs is because of the workforce that came before them. So insulation, apathy, or unrealistic self-assurance is not going to cut it in the real world. Experiences. Because it is good to be passionate about change, but Rome was not built in a day. So if you have any ambition, no matter which generation you belong to, you will have to do the time.
Well, that Mexican took my job. He ain't took your job. He was given the job. Given the job by who? The people who give out jobs. Well, who are they? Duh. Have you ever had a job? Who gave it to you? Right, you know. Come on. Stop lying to yourself. That's what I say to all the black people throughout the world.
Latinas in the workforce are a key driver of the U.S. economy, yet many of these women are struggling to achieve their economic potential. One organization in Michigan is trying to change that. Michelle Jokic-Polo from member station WKAR in East Lansing has this report.
In the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month, a few hundred Latinas attended a gala in the heart of West Michigan to celebrate connections and professional growth.
Buenas noches. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
This group has come a long way working to empower Latinas, a segment shy of 3% of Michigan's population. A new report from UCLA shows that Latinas in the U.S. contributed $1.3 trillion to the GDP, a powerful economic bloc.
What I'm proud to say is that my daughter is 8 years old and she'll never experience a Grand Rapids without the Latina Network.
That's Becca Velázquez-Publes, one of the founding members of the Latina Network of West Michigan. She says it all started 10 years ago, sharing a cup of coffee with 3 other Latinas.
There weren't a lot of people of color in Grand Rapids that I knew of or in the spaces that I was working.
Velázquez-Publes says from the beginning their focus was to help other Latinas feel less alone, especially at work.
A lot of us are first generation into university, first generation into this quote-unquote professional world, and no one gave us the cheat codes or taught us how to navigate it.
The organization provides free workshops on negotiating promotions and salaries for themselves and how to get a better job. This is what helped Cece Moore get to a prominent role at a national foundation.
When I first came to West Michigan, I was a scientist, and I now work in philanthropy, and that's due in part to making connections within the community.
Moore says the kind of connections the Latina Network promotes go beyond the exchange of a business card.
The connections you're making in the Latina Network are much deeper.
Beyond the professional networking, the group tries to correct uneven working conditions. A recent Pew Research Center study shows Latinas are more likely to get a college degree, but the pay gap persists. They make 85 cents for every dollar Latino men make. The study's author, Shahana Mukherjee, says even though half of Latinas say they're making more than they did 10 years ago, they continue to lag in earnings when compared to their counterparts at work.
They earn less than Hispanic men, they earn less than non-Hispanic women, and they earn less than white men.
Nancy Lopez, a sociologist at the University of New Mexico, has been researching how race and gender plays a part in the experience of Latinas in the workplace. One particular segment, Afro-Latinas, who are more likely to graduate from college, struggle to get employed compared to non-Black Latinas.
That should tell us a lot about how anti-Blackness is impacting Latino communities.
Bringing attention to these issues is at the heart of the Latina Network's mission. Co-founder Stacy Stout says she wants Latinas to be able to show up as their full selves.
I am Latina, I am Indigenous, I am all of these things fully and whole, all at the same time.
At the gala, they celebrated 10 years of a successful Latina network, counting over 700 members now. But the organization is planning its next chapter, including an online job board to match Latinas with potential employers, and more training sessions and cafecitos to come. For NPR News, I'm Michelle Jokish-Polo in Grand Rapids.
This whole time, I thought your name was Token, like the token Black person.
Today's question comes from Robbie Strunk, a college student calling from his home in Alaska.
Hi, my name is Robbie. I'm from a rural Yupik village in southwestern Alaska with a population of under 800 people. The closest city is 400 miles away and only accessible by plane.
Now, this may not surprise you, but we don't get a lot of emails from rural Alaska. Robbie is from one of the most remote parts of the country, so that got my attention right away. Robbie said that a few years ago, he moved to a city in Alaska to go to college, and that's where he got his first job as a research tech at a renewable energy lab.
As the only Alaska Native person on staff and one of the few who've experienced life in rural Alaska, I was invited to lead tours for visitors of our research lab. I agreed because that's why I wanted to work there in the first place, to make a positive difference for my community and be a voice for Alaska Native people and rural Alaskans.
Robbie said that getting this job was an honor. But when his supervisor, a white woman, came to him with a concern, things kind of changed. She'd been told by other coworkers not to tokenize him, not to make Robbie the, quote, token native.
She asked me if I felt tokenized, and at that point I hadn't. But I very much knew the demographics of my coworkers and knew that I'm the only Native person in this white-dominated science field. I don't know what to do. All I know is that I now second-guess everything I do at the lab, wondering if I'm working on projects because I am Native or if it's because I'm actually qualified to do the job. What should I do in this situation, and what have people done in the past? What would you do when you feel like the token at the workplace?
Robbie strikes a very familiar, kind of emotional chord within me. I think a lot of us will have no trouble remembering being this young and this eager, only to later see ourselves as the diversity hire. But Robbie's story isn't just a conversation about tokenization like you've heard before. He's working on renewable energy for Alaska, in Alaska, and still, somehow, the lone Alaska Native person feels like the outsider.
Tokenization isn't something that happens by the person being tokenized. If that's the situation, it's being done by the supervisor who's making the decisions.
A former tribal chief unpacks how the history of Alaska Natives plays into power dynamics for people like Robbie in the workplace. To answer this question from our listener in Alaska about feeling tokenized, I reached out to someone with a bit more perspective on navigating the white workplace as an Indigenous person. I gave him a call at home.
You could walk, 70 miles in any direction from my village, and you're just in nature. It's a vast wilderness, and we still live in a relationship with the land.
That's Nitsai Thai. He's a senior scientist at the Center for Alaska Native Health Research at the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
I come from a village called Vasharenko. In English, it's called Arctic Village, Alaska. It's in the far, far north.
A lot of Thai's work focuses on the preservation of his native language.
I did not grow up speaking my language. I was probably the first generation of Gwich'in people from my village who were not spoken to in our language.
Thai has done a lot of work to learn about the history of his community in Alaska, too, and to share that history with others.
So what have our Indigenous communities actually been through with this history of assimilation, with a history of oppression, segregation, denied our right to our way of life that we've lived for thousands of years? So there's a lot that we're still fighting for our basic human rights, but also in the realm of protecting our young people. It's all connected.
I was really eager to play Robbie's call for Thai and to get his reaction to hearing Robbie's voice and his question.
What even is tokenization? Like, what the heck? Am I doing these tours because I'm Native? Am I doing it because I'm doing good work here at the lab? It made me feel like I wasn't worthy of working there. What should I do in this situation?
Any initial thoughts, Thai?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll just say to him directly, you are absolutely qualified. Otherwise, you would not have been hired into the position that you're in. So that is something that you should not question. And I would go even further to say that you probably have qualifications that exceed many of the other people who may have went through the same kind of Western educational program that you went through to gain your qualifications, because you're coming with the whole wealth of Indigenous knowledge that you've acquired through being engaged on the land in Alaska, within Alaskan communities. So I really think that, what this sounds like to me is basically a supervisor who just was themselves inexperienced in handling situations like this. And I think they could have handled the situation, a little bit differently for sure, in a way that wouldn't have created this dynamic then for Robbie to have to be second guessing himself.
Can you talk to me about what people outside the Alaska Native community might misunderstand about your experiences or history?
Like even us as Alaska Native people, I didn't know until I was in college that there were boarding schools.
Wow.
I didn't know that Alaska Native people had this experience.
Wow, but that's not knowledge you grew up with.
No, we didn't grow up with it. And so it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I sat my mom down and said, did you know about like these boarding schools and all this stuff? And that was the first time I learned that my own mother had been sent away as a child.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I was in my early 30s till like all this stuff really, really sunk in. And I started to connect the dots between, a lot of the social challenges that we face and a lot of the addictions that persist within our communities and a lot of the pain and suffering that these different generations had experienced and went through with racism, with boarding schools, with segregation, with like all these experiences. Then I think there was just so much pain in them that a lot of our parents' generation and grandparents just didn't want to talk to us about what they had been through. And so for a lot of folks in my generation, we didn't know. And because of my health research work that I do, we're now seeing a lot more clearly how language, culture, identity are protective factors for our young people. And I think that that's the one thing that I'm so appreciative of with this younger generation, is that even conversations like we're having right now are a lot more transparent. It is fully okay for us to bring our full identity, language, knowledge into the workplace, no matter what that workplace is. And it's okay for us to contribute and share, because I know that Indigenous peoples within our knowledge systems and our experiences have a lot to teach and share the broader community.
Absolutely. More than anything, Ty, what is your advice for Robbie? I mean, what should you do when you feel like the token at the workplace?
So I think one of the most important advices that is quite simple, but that was provided to me when I first became a young chief by one of our elders. I was really excited because I thought he was going to tell me a story like he usually does, but he basically told me, don't quit. And I got his message right away, which is like, okay, as an Indigenous person, becoming a professional, becoming a leader, you're going to face moments and situations where you're just going to feel like this is too much. I don't want to have to deal with this no more. So it's a balancing act of kind of like in situation by situation, determining like, is this one that it's really important for me to stick with, or is my time and energy better put somewhere else so that I could be more productive for what it is that I'm wanting to contribute to for our community, for our people. So I think, look at things as an opportunity to grow and navigate through a situation that might be making you feel uncomfortable. But also, don't doubt yourself. It's so important for us to trust our intuition, our heart, what it is that we're feeling, and also to have the courage to communicate in a respectful and humble way when we feel like something is not right.
I can tell you, Robbie, I understand how hard it can be to speak up when things don't feel right. But I'm really, really glad that you did. And that you sent us this question. I hope that Ty's advice resonates with you and that you'll keep in touch with us.
Claims of discrimination and harassment, including current allegations that are part of pending litigation.
It's unfortunate. It's traumatizing. Countless nights with no sleep.
Well, there's only so much you can take.
Frustrated and fed up, 4 African-American employees have sued C.O.W.S, accusing the organization of discrimination. According to their suit, Amy Ayers was passed over for a supervisor position, even though she was the most qualified and experienced candidate.
It has nothing to do with qualifications or the quality of work. It's strictly based on your race.
According to the lawsuit, following the second round of interviews, she was passed over and they promoted a white man.
They told me I wasn't the right fit. What does that mean? What didn't I fit? Because I had more than enough experience.
Dwayne Pugh and Rodney James, both C.O.W.S procurement specialists, told me they believe the reason it took so long for them to go from what's known as a limited-term employee to a full-term employee was also because of their race.
I really believe it's because I'm a black man. I'm qualified. Always have been qualified.
The 4th employee suing C.O.W.S says she's so afraid of retaliation she didn't want to talk on camera. Her attorney, Michael Justice, spoke instead.
You have somebody, a black woman, complaining about a white male, insubordinate, and management isn't going to do anything. And if you have the audacity even to challenge that, then you're going to get demoted.
In its initial court filings, C.O.W.S denied all allegations. The case is continuing through the court process. We asked C.O.W.S for a number of things for our story, including a sit-down interview with the CEO. Citing pending litigation, a spokesperson refused to answer some of our questions, but did respond with a statement that reads in part, quote, C.O.W.S vigorously investigates all claims of discrimination and harassment, including current allegations that are part of pending litigation. C.O.W.S independent external investigator found these claims to be without merit. We look forward to defending against these allegations. The spokesperson also said C.O.W.S does not tolerate discriminatory behavior of any kind, but the employees told me they hope the company does make changes, starting with the Human Resources Department.
Not only does it not support the black employees that work there, they enable those who are treating us poorly to keep doing what they're doing.
They're also hoping for a culture shift.
Black employees at C.O.W.S know how we get treated, and it's prevalent. We know it's there. They know it's there. It's time to do something about it.
And they want to encourage others, no matter where they work, to speak up.
And for those that are afraid, for those that are sitting watching this now, knowing that they have to deal with the same stuff that we're dealing with tomorrow when they get up and clock in, there's hope. You don't have to be silent anymore. You don't have to be afraid.
I'm Brandy Cummings, KCRA 3 News.
The attorney for the employees thinks the case could go to trial late next year or early 2024. You can find SMUD's full non-discrimination, anti-harassment, and non-retaliation policy on our KCRA3 app.
It's okay. See, the code doesn't say nothing against somebody going into business. That's, going into business is just going into business. That's all. If you can find a business to go into where you can make some money. I mean, there are some black people who are in business. They run in little barbecue stands or something, a chuck wagon.
And starting tomorrow, a 2-week event will showcase locally owned restaurants. It's being put on by the KC Defender along with black-owned businesses. Fox 4's Lexi French tells us more about this vision for Black Feast Week and the businesses behind it.
Over the next couple of weeks, the KC Defender will host its first annual Black Feast Week, where they'll be celebrating black-owned restaurants all over the Kansas City metro. One of the restaurants on the list is Kinship Cafe in KCK.
We're the only black-owned specialty coffee shop in the metro, and so we pride ourselves on coffee and service, and that's really what we preach on. When people walk in, that's the first thing they experience is our service.
Kinship Cafe provides locally sourced products and functions as a resource space after hours for community members. It will be highlighted during Black Feast Week along with a list of other local spots like Vine Street Brewing and My Village Grill.
What's really exciting is the list and what it is this year and what people get to experience. Will be more exciting is how big that list gets next year and how much more excitement this is when this becomes more of a regular thing.
The KC Defender decided to host the first Black Feast Week as a way to highlight and celebrate local businesses after seeing multiple black-owned restaurants like Soiree close their doors this year.
I would love to see more of the Black Feast business owners start collaborating more with each other. It'd be fun to see how Black Feast Week could catalyze more of those collaborations to happen for the city and really for the culture to be able to honestly promote each other more, support each other more, and just back each other up more, which is what we need.
Black Feast Week officially kicks off on October 1st. In Kansas City, Kansas, I'm Lexi French, Fox 4, working for you.
Let's see. For the folks who are listening online or who called in, I'm just trying to make sure I get the live feed back connected. Somehow the live feed is being uncooperative. It was connected and playing, and then it stalled for some reason. Just trying to see if we can get that corrected as we move forward. Always has to be something wacky in. How odd. It was right there, right when I got ready to go live and speak and introduce things, then it became uncooperative. Let's see. I'll give it a whirl for the folks who are listening via phone. You should be good. You can tweet out, message out. If you were listening online, then dial in the number 605-313-5164, the code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again, 605-313-5164, the code. Oh, okay, there it is, back online. Wacky. It was right. They were finishing Black Feast Week, Kansas City, starting October 1. Was getting ready to go, all right, get my thing, Worthless Negro, and disconnect. Usual suspects. Okie doke. Start things proper. Context of White Supremacy. Gus T. Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the system of white supremacy that is information for non-white people, victims of white supremacy. Please do not share the program with your white friends. Today's date, Friday, October 18, 2024. So I have been told. Kudos to the KC Defender. Said for years, importance of black journalists, independent black press operation in Kansas City. In fact, they were reporting about Timothy Hazlitt Jr. white accused, serial rapist, suspected killer. His trial and all that is coming up soon. They were the ones who started, they and Bishop, or Reverend, I think I said it right, Bishop Powell and others in the area, black people, saying, hey, we think there's a serial killer targeting black females. And get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. Listen to all that hoaxes, fake news on TikTok and Instagram and everything else. Like, get out of here, man. Do something with your life. And then come to find out old Timothy Haslett Jr. got a dungeon in the basement. Black female had to escape for her life with a dog collar on and all that. KC Defender, they were right there talking about that. We talked about that last summer as well. They, this month, doing Black Feast Week to highlight black restaurants in the Kansas City area. Hopefully, or I know we have people, Cal's listeners in that area. You can go out, support. Hopefully they have some healthful food offerings. I know some of the other times that I've seen like black restaurant celebrations and supporting black businesses and all that, but it'll be a lot of fried chicken. Like a lot of fried chicken. No disrespect to anybody who enjoys fried chicken. I've had my share, but I mean, dang, we do not need any more fried chicken. Vegetables, fruits, veggies, healthful foods, so we can get rid of that diabetes and Ozempic and all the rest of it. We don't need no more fried chicken. Maybe they won't even have that. Maybe Black Feast Week in Kansas City, they had vegan barbecue, maybe? I had that. Man, I had vegan barbecue with homemade coleslaw. Now, I made everything homemade except for the rolls. I guess I could have made those too, but man, I don't even do no coleslaw, but that coleslaw was amazing. I'd never made coleslaw in my life. Normally would skip it, but pulled barbecue is supposed to have coleslaw, right? Gotta make coleslaw. Plus, they normally put dairy in the coleslaw, so you have to make. Anyway, hopefully they had vegan barbecue and vegan coleslaw that was equal to or better than what Gus T made this autumn. Pictures on my, and I had macaroni and cheese. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what they can have. Maybe they had all that. And shame on Gus T for not. I could have went and caught a Kansas City Chiefs game, and then I could have supported some black businesses, learned some different recipes. You got that barbecue. That's vegan too. You didn't put no cow or nothing on. Wow, I missed out. Put that cap for next year. But hopefully it was food to live so we can stay here a long time. Be like Lilly Ledbetter, live till she 86. Black Feast Week. That also, it did remind me, Fuller said, what type of business? Man, that does end up being lots of it. It being the types of businesses that white people allow us to have. Mortuary, barbershop, weed outfit, illegal, not one of the legit ones. And then fried chicken joint, something like that, maybe. And then Paula Deen will come and steal your recipe. She was posing with Donald Trump this week, Paula Deen. That's, about the size of what they allow. That's the sort of thing that I think about, because I normally don't hear Black Business Week where it's a bunch of venture capitalists and, folks, they competing with Elon Musk for electric vehicles, and it's never that. It's never that. It's what we heard in Atlanta a couple weeks ago with having a cafe where you have different drinks named after black people, James Brown and John Coltrane and all that. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's a difference between what system of white supremacy racism. Hey, there's a lot of Elon Musks out there, even the Elon Musk white people that don't have billions of dollars in a system of racism, white supremacy. It's a huge difference. And white people use their power to sabotage and make sure that black people don't have successful businesses on the plantation. Shout out to Black Feast Week. Lilly Ledbetter, suspected racist, died this week at the age of 86. As soon as they said her name, that's literally, it even took me a moment to grasp, like, dang, that was one of the first things that President Obama did when he was elected. Like, literally, that act was signed into office. They got the pictures, and she came up to the White House and everything. January 2009. It was, I think it was like January 26th. I looked at the date this week. It was like January 26th, 2009. He literally had been in office, I don't even think 10 days at that point, literally. One of the very first things, like, I couldn't imagine the first thing that President Obama doing. I'm gonna look out for my black brothers, black sisters. I'm gonna do something to make sure that we get fair pay for Leroy. Bring in Leroy Washington. Leroy, he's been living right here in D.C., Southeast Washington, D.C. for a long time. Been working at Church's Chicken. Does the drive-through window. You've seen him when you go in to get your 12-piece. And he has been making less than white men, white women, everybody for a long time. Come here, Leroy. We're going to sign the act right there. Come on. That you, all those white dudes walking around in the street in 2009 where they were having those town hall meetings and we don't want no Obamacare, we don't want no nigger in the White House, all that. Please. Call Leroy out here and correct no employment irregularities with Sal. Let me get this white woman. Come on up here, Lilly. Sign the Lilly Ledbetter. And even with that, most white people did not support no obesers, and most white voters, most white women voters, the Lilly Ledbetters, they went Trump both times and about to do it again. About to do it again. Think they're going to go for no Kamala Harris. About to do it again. Lilly Ledbetter, gone. And they talked all that fooey, man, women, white women. And in fact, it reminded me, New York Public Radio had a segment just a few years back where they said, hey, the pay gap between white women and white men, that can be solved without legislation overnight. All you got to do is say, we're going to publicize salaries, and this will be solved. They said that's nothing. Places where they enacted gender equality and laws and statutes on a local level, white women right there. Maybe it's a penny or a little bit off, but it's right there. And in fact, they've even talked about how frequently, so that we can tear up and, oh, it's so sad what they did to Lilly Ledbetter in Alabama. Got that old southern accent like she care about her black female workers. Get out of here. That's Coretta Scott King land. That's Coretta Scott King land. Now, how much you get out of here? Anyway, with the Lilly Ledbetter Act, they will lie and deceptively pull in all of those Latina females that we heard about and black females who don't make any money on the job. Black male down at the courthouse in Florida told us about the black female who now been there for 20 years and can't get no promotion, can't get no raise, nothing. They got these old unqualified white people get to come in there and get jobs left and right because they got homies in HR and all the rest of it. They will use the data of non-white females, say, oh, look how much less we make than white men. If they just isolate how much do white women make and then make the comparison, ooh, it don't look like that much of a gap at all. Lying heifers. No name calling. No name calling. Lying heifers. Anyway, Lilly Ledbetter, gone, certainly not forgotten. Next, heard the report, such a variety of different things. So next, the election workers in Arizona specifically, and they're talking about the different threats that they're facing and all of that. I have no idea because I remember 2000. I mean, I mentioned 2016. I remember 2020 for sure. Man, I don't know if we have any COWS listeners who work in an official capacity for like election polls, voting, anything of that sort. But ooh-wee, I feel for those brothers and sisters, cousins. Safety, 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 and safety. I wouldn't even want that. Did you hear everything they said? You ought to be lynched. They said, what did it say? Children are not off limits. You know, that moron, he got a tendency to say white people do not care about children. Why do you have to kidnap my children if Kamala Harris wins? What does 9-year-old Jeremy have to do with Kamala Harris winning the election? That's the emboldened race soldier. I don't care about no children. Children ain't off limits. Come on. I hope we don't have any folks who have that job. I would not want that job under any circumstances. Like they're talking about doxing people and putting all your information out there. We got to call and leave messages and threaten you and you should be shot and all that. Like, come on. I'm good. I'm good on all of that. What does it mean to be white? And that's another one now. Imagine black people behaving like that. We're going to call up officials and threaten them. And okay, say something else about Obama if you want to and see what happened. Come on. Let's see. Next, heard the report. The reluctance, I guess, or at least frustrations about hiring Gen Z workers. Now, that's one. I guess there's some frustration or what have you, but I have a hard time believing that younger white people in their 20s, are not going to get a job. Like, please. I could certainly see some of the frustrations that they're talking about in terms of these younger workers and being unprofessional and lazy and communication. We heard about that on the program before, where it seems to be just a real void in terms of communication skills, professional writing skills. That's why we have the recommendation: practice your professional writing so everything is not lol and emojis and slang and cursing and all the rest of it, so that you can speak like someone who intends to be promoted. VP office with a nice view. Lots of frustration. Decor. I mean, as they say, it seems like it is a long list of people, and some of that might even be at this point. Now, you got people who, if they're in their 20s, man, did they go through college during the Rona? So they've been doing Zoom and all that other old nonsense, or they started a good chunk of their work career with all of that. That might drastically impact, what you think of in terms of norms for professionalism. Not that I know what that is either. They used to have, I think, classes and all that, talk about that in school, and I just don't think it's that anymore. I think a lot of that has gone to the wayside. You have lots of folks who have tattoos that are visible and all that now. It is way different. And even she said that, what is the anti-hustle? I think you have lots of folks, too, in positions where they have jobs where I'm going to work here for 20 years and I'm not going to get a raise. I'm not going to get a promotion. They're going to get racist jokes and steal my lunch, put my water bottle on the floor. Given all of that, I'm not interested in coming in here and breaking my neck for my boss. I am not going to come up here and work like no extra dedicated slave. I'm going to slack. I'm going to give you about 60% of my time, effort, energy. I'm not going to do my best. I'm going to do exactly what I need to do to keep this job, and maybe even try and see if I can do a little less. Like I said, I'm going to slack a little bit. I'm anti-hustle. One might come to that if you think this isn't worthwhile and I'm not going to be properly compensated or valued as an employee. Why would I be a hard-working slave? Anyway, let's see. We heard that's the younger workers, some of the differences. If anything, I would talk to your children. I can't emphasize enough, if you are older, I would talk to your children, because white 20s, they can do all of that, be unprofessional and not on time and anti-hustle and all that. If you are classified as black, it will likely be way more difficult for you. So I would make sure to talk to your offspring about what to expect in the workplace, and even that, don't think you can do all the things that white people do and get away with it. Let's see. The Latinas, so they're talking about so-called I can't even say that, so-called Latina females exclusively in Michigan, and trying to do better efforts to get them pay. Now, we heard they're equalizing pay. I don't remember them having a whole bunch of so-called Latinas up there for the Lilly Ledbetter Act. And in fact, even, hey, Lilly Ledbetter, it's been, I don't even have enough fingers, man, 15 years. Why hasn't the Lilly Ledbetter Act helped the Latinas in Michigan? Why come? system of white supremacy racism, perhaps. I'll say. Incidentally, that's one too. I don't get on all that, they could do something for native-born black people and yum. They could. The people classified as white. That's why I played that with Neely Fuller Jr. The job getting place, people classified as white. So if it's anything to be upset about, why don't y'all do a program like that for the black people? Kwame Kilpatrick, Michigan, and all that. Hey, the people to fuss at, usual suspects again, classified as white. I think also with that, getting training or alleging that they're going to help the Latinas and close the wealth gap and all that nonsense, I suspect some of that might also relate to white genetic annihilation, where we don't have enough white people. We're going to need some of these so-called Latina females to do some of these jobs moving forward. Just a suspicion. We heard about the old token non-white person in Fairbanks, Alaska. Nonsense through and through. Now, I could be wrong. I have to go back and look at the transcript to be for certain. But did we get a definition? What do you mean, token? Old lame white woman comes in and said, we don't want you to feel like no token. You feel like you've been tokenized. What do you mean? Like, break it down. For what does that mean? Do I feel like I've been tokenized? I'm the what does that mean? Explain it to me like I'm 6. Let me sit and wait. Now, my view, one of the ways that white people practice racism, white supremacy, is with nonsense like that. They'll come and say, oh, Leroy, you're an old affirmative action hire. You're shiftless, ignorant, lazy, you can't read, you can't spell, you can't add, you didn't even graduate from kindergarten. We know you didn't deserve this job. Oh, man. Don't you feel bad being an old affirmative action hire? Don't you feel bad being an old diversity hire? Don't you feel bad being an old token? Don't you know that there's, a kindergarten white girl who could have done this job 50 times better and is way smarter than you? They'll do that, and you'll be thinking, dang, is a kindergarten white girl smarter than me? Dang, I sure am shiftless. Dang, I feel right bad. We talked about that. Undermine your confidence, have you feeling bad, head all down. Man, I need to dress better. Man, I should have went back to school. Man, I should have studied more. Man, I should have read more books. I sure am shiftless. Man, I'm going to have to get my hair done better. Get them kinks out. Yeah, I sure am all of that. Then come to find out, no, that's not it at all. They just like to do a little undermining. Ruin that black self-respect that Dr. Welsing talked about all the time. I'm in a system of white supremacy racism. So what are my options? If I could be a so-called token, whatever that means, I really don't even think we got a definition for what? What do you mean? I could be a so-called token, or you say you're so-called Native American, so I could be a non-token. Would it be better to be unemployed on the reservation so I could swell my chest with pride? I ain't no token. You got a cigarette? Because I ain't got no job, so I can't get no smoke on. You got a cigarette I can have? Anybody get Lucy? Yeah, I could do that. Or be a token. I'm going to sit in the AC and do a project or two, and all the white people think I'm ignorant, which they would do anyway. President Obeezy, I graduated from Harvard. And they say I'm ignorant and token. So, all day long, I say you should not feel. The thing to feel bad about is that we're in a system of white supremacy racism. We wouldn't have no tokens if it wasn't a system of white supremacy racism. That's what's to feel bad about. Not calling you man. That's, again, the champion. That's really all that is. That's really all that is. I can be cute and cause mischief for that you feel like a token? Because it's you feeling like a nigger? Yes, because I am. Man, we can make that a short conversation. You feeling like a token, which is basically true. You know we don't hire no niggers. You know we don't let no nigger. You're supposed to be on the reservation, drunk, raped, talking about the boy, or I guess not talking about the boarding schools. You got all that repressed. Get another drink and you'll forget all about it. Fire water, yes. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be working and learning nothing and doing nothing constructive. So, I mean, yes, you are an old Negro, or any other name we want to call you. If we just want to be cute and refined, we'll call you a token, but it's the same thing. Yes, I am. You ask me how I feel about it. Well, how should I feel about it? I'm glad I got a check. You've been on a reservation lately? Woof. Jesus, it's cold in Alaska. I can pay my electric bill. Get me one of, they got the mattress warmers. I never even heard of it, so I don't go to Alaska. I don't do the cold weather. But they got the mattress warmers. That's another one sound expensive. I need a good job. I need to be a good, stable token. Pay my rent, pay my electricity, pay my mortgage, get me some good quality snow tires, all of that. Cold out there. It's already cold in Alaska. Call me and they ain't get no white people. You don't have no white. Black brother at the courthouse. He said they got a white woman, got hired, got a job. I don't know nothing about Photoshop, can't even spell it. You for sure got to be a token. Can I get electoral on us? Why don't you go find G.W.? Don't you feel like a token? You stole that election in 2000. You know you old token Nepo president. I got monuments, served 2 terms, man. My dad couldn't even do. I served 2 terms. You mean token? I served 2 terms. Back down. That's what old GW tell us. Talk about George Bush. I served 2 terms. You mean token? They don't go get him and call him no token. They don't go get any of these other folks. Matter of fact, they could have started with his dad. They could have started with him. Don't you feel like an old token out here riding on your daddy's coattails? You ought to be ashamed of yours. You're not even qualified. I ran the CIA. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Token is only non-white. They come and get you and have us stressed, and I'm not calling it, man. Get out of here. All of these lame, crony white people that you've hooked up and given jobs. Don't even get me started on Varsity Blues. Get out. Where's my promotion at? If I'm going to be a token, I should be the best token ever. Can I get where's my token raise? Can I get my token office? Can I get my token lease rental? Token. Get out of here. And I'm so embarrassed. That's supposed to be NPR's best effort at it. Number 1, what is a token again? Lame. Are all tokens non-white? You can't have a white token? All of the white people got here because they're super duper qualified? Anyway, let's see. If we got any tokens here, someone called you a token or you thought of yourself as a token, let that go. You can dial and let us know. But please, if anything, you are a victim of white supremacy and probably massively overqualified and underpaid. Not a token. That's what I said first. A victim of white supremacy. But if we got anybody who's, yeah, I'm a token, Gus, dial in 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Token. Man, if it was a white woman who did that, oh my, I would have to get in my Floyd Mayweather counterpunch. They come and ask you, hey, Brother Gus, are you feeling like a little token in the office? What do you mean token? And then when she explained it, I haven't been mistreated. That's the issue. I haven't been mistreated, but if you mean being unqualified and such, I don't know. With all the evidence that white women have benefited most from affirmative action, perhaps you could let me know if you ever feel like a token. Dare you to come back here and say something to me again. Get your No name calling. No, but, oh, buddy, that would be for sure filed away. I double dog dare one of you to come in here and ask me about some token. I seen Varsity Blues. I'd be waiting. Floyd Mayweather, waiting. Counter is waiting, waiting, waiting. I could even get that in the form of a question, too. Have you ever felt like a token? Anyway, name calling. That's all they do is name call. Let's see. We heard the section after that. They told us about, I already mentioned, the Black Feast Week in Kansas City. And they mentioned the racism at SMUD. That is the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, Sacramento, California. That was why I prefaced it with that. But we had the black employees saying that they, same thing I just said. In California, no less. I thought this was, man, Kamala Harris, California. State capital, no less. Sacramento. And said, man, they passing over black females. And Lilly Ledbetter, man, what's going on? How are you passing over black females for some white dude? And say, you don't, we get nebulous again, say, you're not the right fit. I'm a size 5. What you mean I'm not the right fit? Explain, por favor. They'll do that old nonsense. He's just not quite a team member. What do you mean? What specifically do I do or not do that says I am not a team member? What do I do, not do, say, not say that says I'm not the right fit? Ambiguous. They love that with the practicing white supremacy racism in the workplace. Any hoodles. The email, untiljustice@gmail.com. The number, 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Do we have any tokens? Do we have any tokens? Do we have any tokens? You self-classify as a token. You've been referenced as a token in your workplace. Let us know. I can't say it. Hey, I got, well, one is no name calling, so that's off top. That is name calling. I've never heard anybody say, I am a token, and they initiate. I've never heard that. Name calling, and then it's totally destroy black self-respect. So the option should be, I'm not going to be a token. Let me go out and be homeless and beg for nickels in the park. I should scrub toilets. What should the option be? I think I'll stay here and let you all call me names and just make note of you all calling me names as a token. Master name callers. That's all they do. Name call all day long. Any hoodles. Not for spectators. We have folks who have thoughts to share. If you have any suggestions, if you have any difficulties with racism, they're calling you a token. Let us know. We'll do our best to use counter-racist logic. See if we can offer some tips, strategies to minimize problems, conflict, without creating new problems. But an obligatory, we are getting close to that election. No discussing politics in the workplace, even with other black people, even with your black relatives on the job. No discussing politics. You don't know who's listening. They might have recording devices. You cannot assume just because this person is classified as black, they will have the same views as you do about the election, any component of it. No discussing politics in the workplace. You can just say that with a smile. I don't discuss politics at work. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't discuss politics at work. And keep it moving with everyone. If you work on a job that is politically affiliated, like I said, might consider speaking with HR, see if they have any sort of training or suggestions to make sure that we remain professional, civil, and safe, regardless of who comes out victorious next month. No hooligan activity out here. We're on the job. Shouldn't be. We got any folks who work in the elections, post or with voting, anything like that? Or I guess the post office to a degree, yeah. If anybody that does that sort of work, let us know, because good God, we will pray for you. We got any folks doing that, we will pray for you as we move through November. Let's see. Folks who dialed in with a hand up. Let's see. Retired firefighter in Florida has a hand up. Do you have commentary, sir?
Yes, sir. Greetings, everyone. Hopefully you hadn't already announced this one. But I'm going to go ahead anyway and see. It's involving, it says here, USPS accused of retaliation and harassment after employee raised racism allegations. Exclusive, Carla Vinson, who worked for the USPS for 26 years, says she endured intimidation and bullying after reporting 2 white coworkers who allegedly used racial slurs. The United States Postal Service is facing accusations of retaliation, harassment, and intimidation from a longtime employee who alleged she experienced racism on the job. Carla Thomas Vinson has worked for the USPS in Gainesville, Florida for about 26 years. Everything changed last February. Vinson, who is African American, overheard 2 white colleagues in conversation. Both used racial slurs. According to Vinson and a legal filing submitted by USPS, which one of them would later repeat to her directly when recounting the exchange. In an interview with The Guardian, Vinson claimed she had been subjected to stalking, intimidation, bullying after she complained about the incident. I feel as though a company that I have invested so many years in has failed me, she said. The USPS declined to comment. It is USPS policy not to comment on pending litigation or internal personal matters, a spokesperson said. There's a lot more to this that would take up a lot of time, but I think everybody listening gets the message. That's part of the reason, in my opinion, on why a lot of us do not actually report these type of incidents, because it almost immediately after bringing it up to quote unquote authority figures, they would identify the non-white person as the perpetrator and by the things that took place. Yeah, that's what I was calling in about. There's, like I said, there's a lot more to this article that can probably take up the entire program. But hopefully everybody gets the gist of this report that I'm making. It talks about the details, typical things that take place in the workplace. For instance, that morning while making a pot of coffee, she overheard a postal employee speaking to one of her fellow supervisors. William Roy complained to Alvin Tate that he felt that he was being treated like and I'm going to say it, a fucking nigger, according to Vincent. She says Tate reassured him he was not and that he was one of us. I was kind of shocked because Roy is an older white male, Vincent said in an interview. While she said Roy did not talk to a lot of people in the post office, she claimed that she was someone he spoke to every day. Roy left the office and Tate came to her desk. At this point, according to Vincent, Tate sat down and repeated the conversation, including the racial slur that both he and Roy had used. Vincent was just stunned, she told The Guardian. I didn't say a word. One thing about it, with this article that I read, she actually noted down the number of times the word nigger came up in the two white guys' conversation, and she counted it to be 17 times based on her notations. So at least she did that, which is vitally important to write down on what you heard, that sort of thing. So when it goes to a meeting of such, that you would be, pretty versed on what to say in the meeting. And that's basically it on what I have to say about it. Anybody can read this. I got it from The Guardian, and the date on it is Wednesday, the 16th of October, 2024.
Much obliged, retired firefighter in Florida. One, checking the news, very important. They're always talking about racism in the news, frequently racism with regards to labor. So another reason, check what's happening in the news. That right there, we talk about that all the time. Document, she went and wrote down. I say that too. Write it down, like word for word, verbatim. They're treating me like a nigga. No, they're not treating you like a. Yes, they are. They're treating me like a nigga. You still one of us. You still one of us. Calm down. Write it down. That's another reason why I say that. Just that conversation right there. They could have done the same thing I've been saying about politics. All the white people were racist, but they could just waited and had that conversation, at home. Went out, for happy hour. After the job, had that conversation there, none of this would ever start. That's why I say assume other people are listening, cameras, microphones, whatever. Maybe even other non-white people. That's it. Go document. Nobody's memory is, as good as we would like it to be. You get distracted sometimes. Go write it down. Everybody has phones, or I guess some people on jobs you can't have a phone. You have to store your phone away. For some jobs, they make you put it in a locker or lock it up in your trunk of your car, or whatever. If you're in one of those environments, go old school. They have the little small notebooks, right? You can have in your pocket or what have you. Really small. Get a sheet of paper even. Keep it with you. Write down exactly what was said, date, time, all that. Boom, 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 boom. So you can have a record. Serious about this. Documentation. Now, they said the retaliation was there, too. I would have that in mind. They had all those cases with Boeing earlier this year where these were people classified as white who were reporting unsafe work practices and violations of policy and procedure, and then they died mysteriously. Hopefully it won't get that bad, but I mean, hey, retaliation is a possibility. They're supposed to have whistleblower protection and all that. Maybe they're helpful. Maybe not, but be honest about that. Very likely to happen, and even other non-white people might be upset with you about, reporting racism, wrongdoing. And also, I think he read from the report that he read in The Guardian that this young lady, victim, she said she was kind of surprised when she overheard this conversation about these white guys, and they treat me like a nigger at the post office and all that. Man, one of the goals, Mr. Fuller's talked about this for a long time, and I know it is hard, but one of the goals, we are not supposed to be surprised about racism, and specifically with nigger. I say that all the time. Like, you should be telling your children, if it hasn't happened already, that day is going to come where you get called a nigger in the workplace or whatever else. Is so common and widespread. That's not one to be surprised about. That's one you already got. In fact, that's one Woo! You talk about being frisky. So we'll say Bob. He says, man, can't believe it. Treat me like a nigger. Fuller said he's even heard that on the job too. Like they got me stuck down here like when I'm one of these niggers. I'm a white man. I'm supposed to be a supervisor. You don't stick me down here. I'm not one of these niggers. So when he gets into all that, treat me like nigger. Bob? Hey, how you doing? Just quick question, if I might. When you say they are treating you like a nigger, what are they doing exactly to treat you like a nigger? And I have my pen out for that. I might even have, if I don't have my phone, I'm going to be ready and slow so I can write it down. Is this a compensation thing? Is this a promotion thing? Is this a benefit? Like, what exactly are they doing to niggerize you, Bob? Let's hear it. That's if I was feeling frisky. But other than that, writing down, and I'm not surprised because, I mean, she even said she's an older white man. Maybe if, Bob was 19, like, wow, man, we what the world, man? We've been listening to Nipsey Hussle, and I mean, what's going on? I thought we were cool, man. What you mean? You still got this? You're not Paula Deen? Like, what's going on? That, I could see then being like, oh, I can't believe she said this is an older white man. Like, yeah, that's what I would expect. You treat me like a nigger. Yeah, white man. Yeah, that's, Anyway, much obliged. Retired firefighter in Florida. Check the news. Let's see. If we have any tokens, again, anybody who is a token in the workplace, let us know. If you self-identify as a token, or anybody else, if they, in a joking manner call you a token on the job, let us know. Bay Area Mommy with us as well. If you have commentary, proceed.
Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, when you say token, because I just tuned in, is that like a token Negro? Is that kind of token?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, am I a token? I might. Well, they say. Well, I heard from a black person. I don't think they. Well, they didn't say I was kissing behind, but because I'm efficiently doing my job, I've been. I think I heard something about kissing ass. So I think it went like, well, I'm not running here kissing nobody's ass, and I think I ignored it, and then maybe later. I made a statement stating I'm not kissing anyone's ass. I'm doing my assignment because I'm on the clock. So yes and no. Workplace racism. So we've only been we had Indigenous people day off for Monday, so we only had 3 days. Or 4 days versus 5 days, so we started on Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, with the children, we do morning care. I take I get the children lined up so they can go outside to line up because they all line up on whatever their markers are. At, let's say, 8:15, they go outside. We go inside Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and maybe huddle and talk about whatever crap and maybe the week or I don't know, whatever we're talking about 3 days a week. It's like a huddle for 15 minutes and they ask, how you doing? Let's say hi, and the way you say hi, or what's a scary movie, quote a good morning, and that's how we're going to say good morning. We do crazy stuff like that 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. So Tuesday, we weren't inside. I came outside 8:25, something like that, to pick up the child in that room from his mom. So if this one lady, I'm like, yeah, you want to go talk to the principal? You want to talk to the principal? I do see a lady. She's a mom of a kindergartner talking to the principal. I guess she was asking, can she stand up there? because this lady and her are arguing and she doesn't want to fight. So I hear another lady where I'm saying, yeah, B, yeah, I'm a principal, I ain't gonna whoop your whoop, I'm gonna whoop your whoop. And so she ended up bringing friends. So some of her friends came in there, jumped on the lady. Mind you, they know each other. So it's a whole brawl in front of the school before the kids come in. These people came and jumped this lady with the kindergarten son. He's in there watching. They came inside the school. The rest of the school was outside, opened the door and allowed her inside. Then the mom stated that the school let her get jumped. The other mom, the first grader mom that has her friends to come jump her, the principal had to grab her. She was getting into it with staff and all kind of, it was the children are just standing there staring. The children of the parents are standing there staring. One lady looks like she has a white parent and a black parent. The way when you drink and abuse alcohol and you're that complexion, you can see all the years of alcohol in your skin. So you can see all this alcohol in her skin. And she looked like she was still drinking. So she's there. There's a gentleman there jumping on this one lady. They're all under 25. I give them under 30. One girl, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So the one that was hiding in there is like 24. But she feels like nobody from the school helped her. There was this one lady arguing with the lady, the first grader mom that brought her friends to jump the kindergarten mom. Mind you, the kindergarten mom is the godparent of the of the first grader. So just that kind of foolishness. Now, mind you, school hasn't even started yet. Like 200 and some kids outside. And so 200 kids outside, over 200 children outside, and over 200 children, and the adults are out there fighting. The principal has to hold the mom, and she, I don't give an F, I'll whoop you next, talking to one of the staff members, telling her she next, and the staff member is going back and forth. Oh, what you gonna do? Blah, blah. So I'm just telling the staff member, hey, be quiet, because all these children are there watching. It doesn't help arguing with the parent. The principal already has her. He's got her. So she's not really going anywhere. So when he ended up letting her go, thereafter, I don't give an F, I don't give a F about nothing. I don't give an F. And then the guy coming out there, here, your baby daddy, do. So it was just a whole horrible mess. The children they looked so lost. It was so awful. Almost every child that goes to school was outside unless they were late. So the principal called the police maybe 8:38. If we still waiting on the police to come. And that happened on Tuesday. It's Friday. The one mother, the kindergarten mom, came back and said she was going to come kill the other girl. Mind you, they must live near because it started that Monday when school was out. And one of the people came and kicked in the door. So maybe the first grader's door, the kindergarten mom kicked it in. And instead of resolving it there, they brought it to the school. So with that, so we have to go back, we have to go in. So they changed the whole drop-off house, and now the parents can't even come in the school. You got to drop the kids off at the door, and they have it from there. I still go outside and get the little boy. The girl that said my energy was negative or whatever, she came late. So she's late, so she missed the whole thing. She pulled up in an Uber way like 8, almost 8:45. So, mind you, we were supposed to be there 8:15. So she gets there around this time, pulling up in an Uber. Didn't know what had happened until we had this meeting after school, way after school, like after school program time. The staff, the instructors came and took our place with the kids after school while we all went to meet up with the principal to discuss what happened, show pictures of the people that were on campus, let us know that they're not allowed on campus, shared what happened, shared what we were going to do, and tried to assure us. So apparently somebody that's been working there for years, I don't know who she was talking to, but she ended up telling the girl that said something about my energy. Whatever happened, someone said they were going to come shoot the school up. So instead of not saying anything, she went and told the principal what the lady said. Now, this lady, she works the front office and she does the kitchen. She does a lot of stuff. Mind you, we just started working there 3 months ago. July, August, September, 3 months ago. And we're through a temporary agency. We don't have to say anything. We could just do what we have to do and mind our little business. But I don't know why she thought it would be a good idea to tell the principal. So when she did that, and then I'll say this. So her schedule changed. Maybe that's why she was feeling away. So I remember stating last week that our schedules were changing. We got an email a week ago saying that there was going to be a new schedule. So the change is the little boy in the room, she doesn't work with him anymore. She works with him during my lunch break. So she has him for 1 hour. She has to relieve me for 1 hour for me to take a lunch break, and then I deal with this first grader for maybe 15 minutes. I'm cut down to 15 minutes with him. So with that 15 minutes, I just change him and sing to him, just mess around with him for 15 minutes, and then I just switch since it's such a change. I do everything else with him, even the academics. If he's not going to do math with that girl that said my energy wasn't good, I just tell her, don't even worry about it. I'll do it with him later. So because I'm trying to replace his negative behavior with positive behavior, and I'm the only one doing it. And because I'm an RBT too, I'm working with the VCBA to help the little boy in the room. And we had a great day, a great no technology day today. I bought him a gecko run. So that made him the gecko run, even though we picked it out a couple of months ago, that made him use his brain to think of ways to make the track, the training, because it's like a marble run, extreme. So it's gecko run. You can either stick it on the windows, whiteboards, any soft, smooth surface like that. Not the carpet or anything like that, but he loves it. Loves it. I even told his mom because she's trying to get him off technology, and I explained to her, she's like, I'm going to order one because he doesn't like the regular model room. I hate the regular model room, but this is lovely. And even though he did use my phone, he used my phone maybe 10 minutes before school was out or time for him to get picked up. He only used my phone which normally he'll want my phone all day or want my phone. I heard what you said about using the phones. I'm not real big on that either, but I pick my battles with certain things. So what I did was he does like Hooked on Phonics, and it's on my phone, and I like him doing Hooked on Phonics. I love it, actually. So I have him programmed on my phone for second grade level. I can't put it on my tablet. I might, if I remember, put it on my tablet. I use my devices because they're mine, and I can control them. I don't have any weird stuff in my phone. I don't take pictures. I don't do anything. I treat my phone as if, what if I lose it? What if the police get it? So I don't have any weird stuff in my phone. But speaking of my phone, he didn't ask for my phone. The only time he got my phone was to look up. He did the Hooked on Phonics list first. He's looking up ways to use the gecko run or different little formulas, different pictures to show him different things about the gecko run. So he was in the search. And then he did Hooked on Phonics, and then he got ready to go. But the plus about that is he'll be on technology all day, all night. iPad, the other people, they'll just give it to him for hours. I'll come back. I'll be gone for a couple of hours normally, and I come back to him. He hasn't done any work, and he's on the iPad. So I had a great week with this child with the new schedule, and I got him to go in his home class only for 5 minutes, but he wouldn't stay in there for 5 seconds, let alone 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, not at all. So for the past Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because Tuesday. Yeah, for the past 3 days, we've been sitting in there for 5 minutes. Yesterday, we did 8 on an accident because he didn't look at the time, so I kept I kept it going. But I have a visual schedule for him, and it works. And no one else is willing to put in that effort but me. So maybe that's why the girl got so antsy that she was willing to do that extra and report this girl, and then to turn around and say, oh, I hope you didn't get in trouble when I told on you. Just that kind of stupid stuff. And I enjoy what I do with the children because they look like me. I really feel if I'm putting so much into children, I want to help my own children. And I do, and I appreciate it. There's a lot of little kid stuff that goes on around there with the adults, but I don't really worry about that. One of the kids on Friday broke their wrist on Friday, came back on Wednesday with this cast. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I was like, oh my God, are you the one that broke your wrist on Friday? So because we're on our phones at work, it's like 15 adults outside with these kids, and they go by level. So only maybe kindergarten and goes last. Kindergarten, first grade goes last, and they separate it. Third and fourth, or second and third, us, we go maybe 3:45, and I think the big kids at the middle school, I don't know what time they go, but we're never really clashing with each other. But when you're not watching the kids and you have them on these apparatuses, anything can happen. And a kindergartner broke his wrist. So an email went out, not to me, but an email went out to every other staff to stay off of their phones and start watching the kids, but they're not really doing it. And particularly the girl that's telling on everybody, she's always on her phone. She's never working, and she's always talking to the guys. Even when you're looking for her, she's in that guy's room, the teacher that both of the ladies wanted to date. So she's always in his room, or always, even when she's not supposed to be, even when she's supposed to be working, they'll say she's up there in his dance, in the room, in his music room, just sitting in there. So just weird stuff like that. So I'm here for the children. It's a hard task because these kids have so many traumas. A first grader was saying, today I had a nightmare. Well, why come? I had a nightmare of blood on the kitchen counter because his mom stabbed his dad a few weeks ago. And he got removed from her home and placed in his grandmother's home. And he's been having behaviors and issues ever since. Thank you for taking my call. I'll mute my.
Wow. Black and I'm proud. First time, last time. First time, last time. Quickly, my question, Bay Area Mom. So the young lady where she reports that we've had a threat, this other black female is going to shoot up the school, as she said. As my understanding, a lot of times educators are mandated reporters, and certainly, 25 years post-Columbine, that sort of statement, falls under the prerogative of mandatory reporting. If you had heard that, would you have reported it? Do you think should she have reported someone making a statement like that?
It didn't come from the parent. It came from another staff member talking. And I would not have reported it. Because the staff member would have the information. He works in the front office. So she could have told the principal versus her telling the principal. That's just my logic, because what it did was, now the lady doesn't talk to her. So it caused more confusion. And now the principal's, she's telling people that such. So now she's being watched. So even the assistant principal, when she's doing breakfast or lunch, or maybe lunch, she has a couple of sessions of lunch. But when she's doing the lunch, they're standing over by wherever she is. If she's talking, somebody is coming over to listen to what she's saying. So I would not have, because I heard, even like I told you, I heard the girl say, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her. I didn't go report that. I understand the mandated reporting. I just would have did it different. Me, I would have just asked, oh, are you going to tell the principal? If I wanted to know that. Or do you think we should tell the principal? I probably would have did it differently. I wouldn't have went and reported someone that I'm working with and I want, to keep my job. That's just me. So, no.
I see. The confusion aspect as well. That's bad day all the way around. Bad day. Once you can get to that point about how best to manage or mitigate threat to shoot up the school, F for the day. Like, man, what a lame day. Wow. And that was at the beginning of the day, too. She said that was before. Wow. Just wow. Man. And do you see? There's so much violence. Just violence. We gonna come brawl at the school and got nightmares, but just violence. We didn't even hear about the office today in the solitary confinement room. Violence just all day long. Violence. That is the system of white supremacy. This is supposed to be children with special needs. And it's just violence. Wow, that I would say is also indicative of an environment where children are not valued. She said the children are looking just lost. They are. Wow. Just, and then I was staggered. She said they called the police. This happened on Tuesday. It's Friday. They are still I wanted her to be lying so bad. Oh, Lord, I wanted white Jesus to strike her down right. And you don't tell no lie like that and say police didn't come and it's been 4 days and you ought to be shamed. And this is at a school, man. Like, I understand if this had been Leroy and Lakeisha and they had too much Thunderbird on a Saturday night, hey, that's the niggers and, whatever. Get rid of a few less niggers to rob and loot. Amen. This is at school. Like, what? That's supposed to be priority one. Like, you at least got a resource officer or somebody. Like, oh, whoa. We get to make sure the children, save the children. Save the teachers. Wow. Wow. I'm at a loss for words. Just wow. I mean, when you play around with sex, I mean, I've never seen anything like that. Like the parents she said they changed the code. Now the parents cannot enter the premises to pick up the children. What in the world? I'm speechless. I'm absolutely. School just started, man. School literally just started. It's October. We barely got through the whole Pride, whatever they did. Man. Mess around and have some children in this environment if you want to. Mess around and have some children going to be classified as black in this environment if you want to. lost. That's what she said. That's what they are. Lost. Now, I got to make sure we give out our kudos, appreciation. She said we had a no technology day. Bravo. Come on. We're not just going to sit up and scroll and swipe, click, and nah. We're going to use our brain computer. Come on. Come on. Investing in these little children, not just letting them sit down and calling them names. He's in his office today. No, come on. No. We're not just going to sit on the little tablet and do games and foolishness. We're going to use our brain computer. That reminded me, speaking of brain computer, all the talk about football and concussions, super important, but we had Dr. Wallace on the program last year on the day of the Super Bowl, no less. She said that for black children, football is not the greatest risk for concussions. It's fighting that sort of conduct that we just heard about. Then I said with her, that should be articulated explicitly to black children, and they're doing the exact opposite. Have the children or have the so-called adults come to the school to model. I bust you upside. Presumably, some of these folks are parents. You cannot. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a no. That is permanently removed from your vocabulary. That sentence for the rest of your life. Once you choose to procreate in a system of white supremacy and you produce a black child, you can never, for the rest of your life, you have forfeited. I don't give a fuck. Whoa. Yes, you do. You gave all that up. You need to be united independent. No offspring. If I don't give a fuck, okay, don't have no children. Don't have no children. Once you have those, you slow all that down. You got a non-white child victim of racism, slow all that down. You do. You do. And you don't have to have the children. You need to act a fool and do all that. Don't have to, then you wouldn't have a reason to come to the school to act a fool. Don't have the children. And it's, see, children, having children, Lord, so embarrassing. Ruin the whole day. Ruin the whole month. Worst thing ever. Sobriety would be best. I guess I get that in as well. What sort of environment is that? Man. Whew. Sobriety would be best. Take care of your brain computer in lots of different ways. Man. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564-943 #. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Say, Bay Area mom out there kissing hind parts on the job ought to be shamed. Let's see. Non-Clemson dad, Mama C, Double O Dimples, Irie with us as well.
Hello all, can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. I did hear one of the intro stories when the broadcast started tonight, but I'm having a hard time remembering it. I fell asleep. It's the East Coast, and it's night out here, so I just woke up, matter of fact. But anyway, I do have a couple of stories. It was inspired by some of the stuff I heard last week. So I'll start. You asked a question, does your employer offer IVF? It made me curious. So I called my health insurance company, and they said it was exclusive, meaning it is not covered by my health insurance provider. Let's see. While driving to work Monday, there was a driver in a pickup truck in front of me with a whole bunch of Confederate memorabilia on his truck. During this past weekend, my family went to a farm for a family day out with a lot of children activities. One of the attractions was a horizontal hamster wheel. While waiting in line, a white male on 3 occasions pretended that he did not see me waiting in line with my daughter. Eventually, the woman he had with him called his attention to me waiting, and he walked the hamster wheel over to me without saying a word, and I did not say thank you. It sounds like this that remind me that the most dangerous racists are not the ones who are signaling what they think about you with Confederate memorabilia, but instead with their indifferent, rude behavior towards you. Let's see, next story. I told a family member about potential election violence. They called this fake news. I said the report was from NPR, and their response was silence. I believe the NPR report about potential election day violence was on the cows for compensatory call-in this past Saturday, 6 days ago. My wife and I decided to vote absentee ballot. When I asked about the election commission, commission office our reason for voting absentee, because you have to give a reason when you do, I said fear of election day violence. The lady at the front desk said that is not an option, but she understood and filled in the reason as having employment obligations, which prevent me from voting during early voting hours. We did consider leaving town, like my friend who says he wanted to be north of the Mason-Dixon line for the entire week of the election. My wife and I, after consulting with my mother, decided to hunker down. There will be no taking our daughter to the parks and libraries during the election week. Just me going to work and back home. Let's see, this will be my last story right here. I, like many black males, was insulted by President Obama's remarks about black males potentially not voting. I made the dubious mistake of bringing this up in conversation with a family member. I said to them that President Obama's remarks could have the result of turning black males off from voting on election day. They said President Obama is right in that I am a closet Republican. This is not the first time they have called me a closet Republican, but this is what President Obama said. It made me feel a certain way. I don't question whether or not the family member loves and cares for me, but in that moment I felt like they're saying me as just another ain't shit black male. They also went on to say that if black people vote, Democrats win, black people win. Too often when this type of conversation comes up, I make it feel like I'm a misogynist and that I don't have an opinion and thoughts for which I can choose to do what I choose to do. I will no longer make mistakes of bringing up anything having to do with voting with friends again. It's time for me to check out. And with that, I will mute my line.
Nap time, closing in on 10 p.m. Eastern, and with almost at the time of year where we set the clocks back, it is getting dark way earlier. So, yes, I would be doing some snoozing. He said he called to check with HR after last week to see, do we, in fact, get IVF covered? This nigger has really lost his mind. You do not get IVF, which is what I suspected that people classified as black. No, we are not trying to help you all. You already got one. Put some more melanated people. Get on out of here. Get on out of here. Ben Tillman rolling over in his grave. He said, I did not know that. I just talked about that the people that work at the, or have any association, if you have a job that has something to do with the election, like, ooh, we will pray for you, pity to you, all of that. And he said he went to do his ballot, absentee ballot, and he said he told them, you know, I'm afraid white people are going to be cutting fool. And that, you cannot, that is not valid. I ain't saying that. Even that. Imagine having that job as a black person And so you got all these white people coming in and ballot or whatever, and you have to be the one to tell them, ma'am, that's not a... Oh my God. You might get bear sprayed on the spot, even if you try and do it the way that they did. Like, ma'am, that's not a valid reason for the absentee ballot, but I'm going to go ahead and just, pow, before you even get to, I'm going to go ahead and just put down that you couldn't get off from your work, and we'll fill it. Pow! Bear spray upside down. That's what I said about you, Coon. You don't come in here and tell me how to vote. You're taking over the country, and I'm a patriot. I have so much pity and sympathy for the people who have to do that job. Whoever you spoke to. Was it a white person or non-white person when you went to the, I don't know where it is, to do your ballot, absentee ballot?
This was a black female, and when I said, she understood and she laughed. Not to be mean to me, but there's quite a couple of black people who work in that department in the election commission office. But it was a look of, I completely understand. It wasn't one of contempt or anything like that. It was one of understanding.
Oh, God. That is so... I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to see... Now, see, in South Carolina, who did they stick in the office? They could have got some of Ben Tillman's cousins, nephews, great nieces, and... Leroy. Lakeith sound like it's more than one black, but they got them over there. Oh, my God. Oh, I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to pray for them. I would not want that job. Oh, can you imagine? I wouldn't care if you are a Clemson grad. You got to work there, and you got to be the person. These white people, they messed up the application. Oh. I'm going to pray for them. If we have anybody doing that job, I will make you some banana nut bread or sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie, like, cinnamon rolls. Oh, I can do good cinnamon rolls. I will hook it up. I'm going to pray for you. Wow. Just wow. I would not want that job for any amount of money under the sun. Oh, they were threatening black people in Florida for the 2020 presidential election and doxing people and all the rest of it that we heard like at the beginning. Man, anywho, much obliged. These old fake, they call them old fake news, misogyn. It said you old, what's it called? A fake Republican, black, that's name calling too. See, do all that name calling. And fake news about, that is wild. I tell a black, or really anybody, I'm afraid that there might be, hey man, I thought they shot at the president. Well, tell me I'm afraid of election violence, the possibility that, it's fake news. Get on out of here. Wait a minute. Did you see what happened on January 6th? Did you didn't, maybe? Did you miss all that? Okay. Woo! Did you see where they said they shot at the president and then they arrested a white fella in California down at the Coachella Festival? Did you see that? That was just a few weeks ago. I know California's a long way from South Carolina, but I mean, man, that is so sad, I think. But I mean, hey, I sit in the workplace for sure. I even sit in the workplace, hey, even if it's your cousins, your nephews, relatives. Hey, Cousin Gus, what you think about that? Matt, I do not discuss politics in the workplace. Man, we go back in your mama. Cousin Leroy, I do not discuss politics in the workplace. Brother non-Clemson graduate, I don't discuss politics with the family at all. Old misogynist, that's name calling too. Old misogynist, fake news spreading non-Clemson grad. See? Just be happy you have your electricity black, sir. Let's see. And then they got the horizontal. I've never even seen horizontal hamster wheel. I don't even know I guess I got to go to South Carolina to see what all that is. Irie in Cancer Alley, Louisiana.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Gus. Okay. I've had an interesting 4-day week substituting special education. And, yeah, like to hear it, and here it goes. So I was substituting for a paraprofessional, non-white female who's in the class of, the teacher is a non-white black female as well. And the first day, she had a white woman substituting for her, and it got really interesting really quick because I have protocols that I pursue no matter what, which is checking exits, seeing how I can evade the situation, escape, or barricade until I can escape, and checking for prerequisite, like, safety things that's in the class, like backpacks, emergency backpacks that have, supposed to have first aid, spare key, roster, the I'm safe, the little green, there's a little green piece of paper you're supposed to slide under the door if everything's okay, and a red piece of paper if it's not. So the white female was intimidated immediately. I guess my back was a little too straight. She was like, I haven't seen you before. Have you taught in this district before? Have you worked in this district before? I said, yeah, And I told her I'm mainly at this school, but I come here a lot. And, oh, well, I never saw you, and I've been here 7 years. I said, well, it's a big district. So we started looking at the lesson plans, and since I wasn't the teacher, I fell back like I'm supposed to, and I just started to do an assessment of the classroom and the emergency backpack that I described to you, and I didn't see a roster, nor did I see an emergency key. I'm normally given one when I'm the teacher, but I didn't have it, so I just asked the white female, they gave you a key, right, to the classroom? She was like, I've been here 7 years. They gave me a key to every classroom. I said, oh, well, I'm asking about this one specifically. Do you have it? Yeah, I do. I said, okay, good. Moved on with my life. So then that's when she starts interrogating me. So do you just do paraprofessional work, or do you do TA, or do you substitute too? I say, well, I do whatever's needed for the children. So if that's substituting, I'll do that. Para, I'll do that. So now she's able to assess based on that, yeah, I have just the thing you were hoping I didn't have, which is a bachelor's degree or greater. And yes, I can do your job. So she kind of got quiet, and then she starts asking me some other questions, and I can't remember what they were, about very general. And, we did our day. But the next day, I met the non-white teacher who started to explain to me acts of terrorism by other staff that have occurred to her professionally and personally, one being that she's in a tragic arrangement, which is also lesbian. So she's highly confused, or as the kids would say, she sold up, okay? Her screensaver on her computer is her non-white mixed children that she had she got a donor who is white, and she told me today she chose a white donor to represent her wife, who is white. And that's her screensaver on her computer whenever she uses it, and whenever she hooks her computer into the projector, you can see these two non-white little babies. So somehow there was an instance of mistreatment at a forum about safety, in which she said, I'm concerned we're getting more and more reports about these near misses with shootings and threats. We should have police on site. And she said a white woman asked her, well, what do you think the Jews had to do? I don't want to get it wrong, but something equivalent to, how do you think the Jews felt, or what do you think they did during the Holocaust. She said all she could do was cry because she was embarrassed after that. I said, I kept it moving because in my head, I'm like, well, that would have been me asking, are you saying we're on the verge of a Holocaust in a school? You know, and if that's true, then why don't we have police? But I waited. So moving on, she's telling me about how there's staff there that has abused the child abuse hotline, calling in on her and saying that her white female partner abused some black foster kids, and those kids were taken, and then somebody kept calling and told the child abuse line, well, you know she got newborn twins over there. And so that's when they called her, and she told the hotline employee, will tell the person that keeps calling you, making these false reports, it's 4 years per conviction for false reporting. So tell them to ease up. And then the call stopped. But in my mind, I'm like, how did they know you have foster children? How do they know you have non-white children, newborns? The screensaver, number one. Number two, she did something I wouldn't have done. She became a foster family for children in the school where she works. And to me, that's a conflict of interest so many ways. And then they were able to mistreat her because of that. And yet the problem of near misses of school shootings and threats of harm are unaddressed while they focus on this black female. And today, interestingly, we had some downtime in which I kind of volunteered as tribute, and I went to lunch with this non-white female thinking it would just be us, and it ended up being 2 white women, one of which I know is as useful as a Betsy bug in her classroom because I subbed for her, and she hasn't had plans in the past. And the other one, I don't know what exactly she is other than a plantation mistress in my mind. Like, she'll have plans and her stuff look good, but when you see her demeanor towards the children, it's very nondescript and, like, uninvolved, unattached. And they end up joining us for lunch, and I'm like, dang it. I did not want to eat with these white people. So they don't talk to me at all. She's talking to them. And then there's some Hispanic females that end up coming, and they're just quiet the entire time, except for like one young one. And she's real like happy-go-lucky and into it. So I'm kind of listening. I'm on my phone, and I'm trying to observe, and I'm trying to like take advantage of this long lunch. So then we leave, and I asked her, I said, do you do this often with the staff? And she was like, well, it used to be twice a week, but it's only once a week now. So I said, okay. I said, now what is that doing to create like a constructive classroom for you or constructive teaching experience? And she's like, it's not. She's like, most of the time the lady you're substituting for is there with me, and we talk and they talk to themselves. So I'm sitting there like, well, y'all could just have lunch, just the two of y'all. You don't have to be with these people. So I don't know. It's just really weird. And she came across like she wants attention from these people. She wants their approval. They've already gone the distance to commit an act of terrorism to me, to call child protection and make allegations, which made her lose these foster children. And then they're trying to take your children, and then you married to this white female who, like, when she tells her issues, she doesn't give her any direction on how to minimize the racism. She's like, oh, okay, well, you know, you're strong. You'll get through it. And then over all of that is the safety element, because I asked my care mate, like, how close do you think this district is to an active shooter incident? He's like, real close. So I'm like, okay, I've got to fall back again to substituting, because no, I'm not with it. It's just a really weird week. The non-white students are more advanced, even in special education, than the white students. The white students are really, really nonverbal, and yet the students, there's one student that shouldn't be in special ed, but they're pushing it. The people that set up all the little domains and whatnot, they're pushing it because sometimes she like kind of loses focus. But she's completely verbal, potty trained. It ain't adding up. It's like she just needs a new teaching method. There is another non-white little girl. She's non-verbal, but she's alert, very precocious. But she has to be scaled down in what she can do, because she has to do what everybody else is doing, which is like just walking around the classroom aimlessly, like I just watched for a while. They just let the kids walk around in so-called free play, which has no design or intention behind it. It's just, well, they get to play and, that's how they learn, but that's not true. They should have objectives. If y'all have to write objectives in their individual education plans, then it should actually be happening as well. So I started asking more questions like, do we do hand over hand, or do you want me to try to potty the young person? No, we just change the pull-up. But I'm like, okay, I've worked with developmentally delayed adults and children. After a while, if you just repeat a process, they start to get used to it. So there's no reason for these children to be wetting themselves, but they're allowed to wet themselves, and they don't need to. And then finally, I was able to do a little promotion of the code. I told her there was a book she might be interested in that might help her mitigate some of the challenges she has in school with these white females. And I also said, hey, it might give you some insight on your relationship, your marriage, and I left it. But I also told her, I said, when you go to another safety meeting, I think it would be wise to ask the teacher that said, what do you think the Jews did during the Holocaust? Ask her, what is a Holocaust? What did they do? Can she tell you what they did, and how does that solve the problem, or try to, how does it come close to mitigating the absolute and apparent risk of an active school shooting occurring at this district? So I'm going back to not subbing anymore. In other words, I like my life. I have a lot to live for. I'm not getting paid enough. And I see the district is also not allowing people to substitute as teachers, which pays more. And I found that interesting because I kind of was killing it last year. And I actually won a couple raffles because I subbed so much because people were out. I won the raffle twice. I won like the equivalent of $500. So somebody must have said, listen, stop. Y'all getting salaries. Y'all need to be at work. This ain't adding up. We paying subs and y'all, which is true. But ultimately, it's all these white females with their cliques and whatnot. And it's just so advocating to non-white people to plan your pregnancies, plan your family thoroughly, and plan if there's an event that your child is or becomes what's considered disabled mentally, because they're not equipped to figure out how to fine-tune any education plans to meet them where they are and help them exceed. It's going to be a blanket, run-of-the-mill. They sit there and play a little bit all day. Then they're going to go to first grade, and they might do a little reading. They might do a little writing. Might. And a child that probably could exceed somehow where they are mentally is just going to be stultified. It ain't worth it to me. So thank the Creator. I do have something constructive in the works for a grant to do digital literacy. It should be very, very compensatory, but it's going to take some time to get there. But I don't want to sub anymore. I'm just not with it. And I also don't want to work with really confused non-white people, because like this lady just can't see how she's given so much information away about herself to the point that she's giving them ammunition to practice racism. She don't see it. It's almost like, I don't understand. She said, I don't understand why they're doing this. I don't understand. I spend my money. I do this, I do that. And they're not friendly. They don't want to work with them. Yeah, they don't, baby. They don't. No, they don't. And your white wife ain't helping. So I'll mute my line. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Irie, Cancer Alley, Louisiana. Man, I have said that for years. I guess this young lady does not listen to the cows. That's no shame there. Many people agree with her. But I've said for years, no pictures in the workplace. No personal items. If they come in and say, you, Gus T, are fired. Get on out of here. Hey, I don't even need the cardboard box. Matter of fact, I take a scan, I look around. Let me grab my coat. I don't really have nothing to pack. Well, thank you kindly for the experience. Y'all got my severance? Okay. Well, thank you kindly. I ain't got nothing to pack. I don't have no posters. I didn't have no pictures on the wall. I don't have no plants. Nothing. Nothing. My pets? No. Vacation pictures? No. That banana bread? No. It's not my office. Not here to decorate. And I'm putting pictures of my family, my wife, my children. These people are not my friends. Some of these folks are enemies. Maybe many enemies. Why do I need to give them intel? Oh, that's his show. Okay, write that down. Okay. Oh, that's his wife, girlfriend. Okay, get that. No, man. Screensaver is going to be whatever default. They got me on some old PC. It'll be whatever the lane Windows screensaver is. They went around and installed. They got the company logo up for the screensaver. That's what the screensaver will be. I would not dare screensaver on the company's machine is going to be us eating ice cream sundaes or at the beach or something. Like, come on. You got to be joking, man. That's on your computer at your residence. This is none of the above. And you see the results. Now you got Child Protective Services calling and all that. Like, come on. Some of that at least could be mitigated. Hey, I'm going to keep all my pictures private. Even if you work with all people classified as black. 2, also, we've said for years, and we've had other people who've carried this out and seen the results. I strongly discourage talking about racism or even giving out counter-racist literature in the workplace, just because you have so many non-white people who are confused. Just what we heard, confused. Man, we've had non-white people, they went on jobs, said, you know, there's this cool black lady, and she gives out great information, might help you better understand racism. Her name is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Man, they took that book and immediately went and said, look at this old radical, militant literature this Negro got. Look at it, look at it. ISIS, look at that, look at it. Fire right now, fire. It's in the archives. We've seen that one a few times. So I think many folks have said no discussing racism on the job. And yeah, I wouldn't even give out cookbooks really in the workplace, much less something that's, you know, he's talking about maximum emergency compensatory acts. And if you're going to kill counter racists, like for a lot of non-white people, that might explode their brain. Especially, she's going home to a white woman and she reads that section on anti-sex, or her lesbian white partner reads that section on anti-sex. What? Who is this nigger Fuller, Neely Fuller? What? Where did you get this from? Like, nap, 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 nap. Certainly, victims guarantee qualified, but that, at minimum, that is very risky behavior for the workplace. We are so confused, and yikes. Especially that one. Like, a white person is going to see this book. If they get it, whatever, you give it to them, or they go get it on their own, or what have you. We already know a white person who is practicing what Fuller described. They see that in the book. Maximum racist aggression. Like, what? What? Where did you get this? Let's see. She said, and pause for Devontae Hart. Man. Even with the gripes and such, like, I even had to say, hey, I don't know any of the details of the case. It could have been a just removal. Hopefully, I don't even know what the wish would be, but I have no idea. But I did think of Devontae Hart. That said, I thought it was massively important that all of this started with, we've had so many near misses, close calls. We should have security at the school. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. All of the anti-sex and, they snitched on, all that should be seconded. Like, what? Wait a minute. Like, have there been near misses and close calls in Louisiana or our parish specifically? Like, whoa. If that is the case, like, that should be front and center. That should be the first thing that we're talking about. Not woe is me because they won't hang out and all this. Like, whoa, what? We can't have no Columbine here. We can't have everything else is, we get that. We can't have no Columbine here. Jesus, I mean, that would be reason to check the local news. Like, what? Close calls? Near? When? Where? How close? Like, what? What? That's what I said. Even I asked when Bay Area Mom, when she said, the young lady who was not a student, I think she said faculty member, said, I will shoot up this school. Whoa, like, should that be reported? Like, what? Banned. Like, woof, if we don't have that many close calls every day, and Colt 45 Gray, he and his dad just indicted this week for murder. Jeez, like, yeah, that everything else, shut up. Everybody else be quiet. The most important thing to talk about, we cannot have a Columbine. That's what we're going to talk about, and nothing else until we've got this resolved. Jesus. Let's see. Security. I mean, what in the world? What in the world? Like, man, I would like to, if you're an attempted parent, there's so much to think about before you even have children. Like, how many of these near misses, close calls, do they have in our jurisdiction? How many have they had this school year even? School year, just the same thing I said with Barry and Mom. It's just October. The school year just started. How have we had all these close calls in 2 months? Other folks who dialed in, 605-313-5164, decode 564943, pound, press star 61 if you would like to participate. Be here tomorrow for the compensatory call-in. Same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Catch up on what has transpired over the last week, the election, and Lots of OBZ in the news. Again, updates with Denoris Richardson and I think Colt 45. Colin Gray and his son, first time, to my knowledge, first time ever that a father and son both indicted for murder, not manslaughter. They didn't even do none of the old nonsense. Father and son, both white, indicted for murder. That was Georgia school shooting at the beginning of the year. That was in September. Like, they'd only been in school for a couple days. And he had been missing class. He wasn't even there. What does it mean to be white? Colt 45 Gray. Any hoodles. We'll give folks another 2 minutes. We had other folks who looked like we had other folks who had a hand up and such. If you have commentary, do not wait until the last minute. Go ahead and get a hand up. If you have either suggestions, if we have any other folks, you are classified as a token. Other people call you a token, any of the sort, let us know. Get that in before we wrap up. We'll give folks, as I said, about 2 minutes or so. I think that also was great with Irie, where she said, where she started, she goes into work, and this white woman looks at her with contempt. Who are you? Have you worked in this jurisdiction before? You some kind of terrorist Negro? What's going on here? Like, the immediate contempt. It couldn't be that you are a competent, vetted colleague who came to help the children. No. This shiftless Negro is up to something. Like, man. And she says she goes to see if she has a key for the room, and she gets, huffy again and says, man, hey. I have a key for every room, lock, drawer in the city. Irie didn't get huffy, didn't get an attitude. Who do you think you're talking? None of that. Great. Do you have a key for this specific lock? Yes. Make sure they answer your question. Like, that's spectacular. I love it. You have a Phi Beta Kappa key as well? And the key to the city? That is wonderful. Do you have a key for this specific room, 103? Yes? Okay, beautiful. And we keep moving. Like, just get the information and as efficiently as possible. All that old rigmarole of just talking to, see, they love that. Talking down to black people, and black people are dumb and ignorant and stupid. And, oh, nigga, woman, you don't know nothing. And they know we wouldn't trust you with no key to nothing. I got it. Yes, you do have a key to the room. Okay, thank you. So, anyway, much obliged, Irie, Cancer Alley. Wow, I don't even know what to say other than, again, so violence. Now, you heard that. We've heard black educators in way different time zones. Not even like thousands of miles separating California from Louisiana, but the same themes. Violence. Contempt for black educators. Violence. That's a lot to think about before you bring a black child into a world dominated by white supremacy racism, where children are not valued, especially if they are non-white children. Let's see. Other folks dialed in with a hand up. Our caller at the courthouse in Florida. If you have commentary to share, should be with us as well.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. I was trying to think about if I ever have been referred to as a token. I don't recall that. I know I've been called other things, but I have heard the term token used by another black person. referring to another black person. That's the only time I really have heard that word. Other than that, there, at least what's been shared with me, there's a white woman who has been, of course, making a lot of mistakes. And it looks like for a while now she's been getting accommodated for the mistakes. Like I shared before about the probate issues, there has been instances where this white woman has been walking up to the front counter, and she will at times answer something that's been asked to a black person at the counter. Like she'll share something, oh, well, you need help finding where to go to the self-help library upstairs. Oh, just go upstairs on the 4th floor. And the black person, I'm quite sure, knew that information. So she, and I have seen her do that before, this white person. So I wanted to share that, where someone is in customer service and she'll walk up there and do that at times. And she hasn't done it in a while, but she's done it before. And the black person that sits next to her, black female, I think they kind of had like a conflict going on. And the white woman, of course, like she kind of did like a scoff, right? Like arrogance, right? At least what was told to me. Because I think she had been going to administration, and sometimes she'll go to the legal counsel. This is the person, all of these are white people, of course, to help her with her, I guess, I don't know, I'm thinking of the word screw ups or her mistake. And this person has been given a probate assistant. I don't recall a probate assistant being there before. So, like I mentioned before, black person, of course, was asked to engage in a meeting with this white woman. And, of course, the white guy, unprofessional, doesn't know how to talk to people. So they were silent a lot of the meetings. Like, they didn't really say too much. But, of course, the white guy, he was defending this white chick, saying, well, you know, she has a lot to do and this and that. And she just can't simply take in the probate paperwork. So, of course, I wanted to share that because she definitely, and she is a clique member, of course, who's still there at the courthouse, where they're just trying to come up with ways to, like I mentioned, pass off the work to somebody else in some way, shape, or form. And I guess they still having an argument about that. I'm not sure what the update on it is, but she seems to just leave work at times, and it doesn't look like she has any sufficient PTO. And there's an image also with this white woman laying down on a yoga mat, right? So somebody has a picture of that. So it's just been a lot of issues with her. And I think someone shared with me that she, and I think another white woman, is trying to say that they having some kind of mental health issue, I guess, to justify this behavior, but that seems to be where it's at the moment. My next report is a victim of racism, I think less confused. She questioned this white female about how she said that she wasn't able to lift some kind of recycling bin, and she said this black guy's name, and he don't even work in the civil courthouse. He works in another location, but he does a route where he comes in there every day. And she said, I'm going to wait for him to come to see if he can empty it. And she was like, why don't you go ask? And she named the white guy, that white dude. Why don't you go ask him to do it? Why are you waiting for the black person to come do it? You know, because she'll question them like that. And, you know, the white person was like stuttering and everything like that and try to make it seem like she wasn't being a racist. So, white dude came up there and he emptied it, okay? And there's other white guys in the area. So, of course, they want to wait for the black guy to come do it. So it was one of those kind of situations. And it seems like they've been doing that quite a bit, where she'll just ask them about that, and then the white person will come out and empty the bin. So that's been an issue. And a white woman who has been unruly and I think hostile and got some mental issues because she actually has mental health cases. So it was reported to me that she came in there and was causing some kind of conflict, and the two white men took her upstairs to some other white people who, I guess, decided not to help this white person because of how rude she's been. But I wanted to share that because she didn't get the same treatment as a black guy from, I'm going to say, 2021, where they jumped on him. There was 5 sheriff officers, and, you know, he for sure was upset about that. Somebody pressed that panic button, and I remember who that person is. So she hasn't, of course, received that same treatment, but the lady is, I think, unstable. And she keeps coming to try and file things, getting in arguments with people. And she referred to a white woman as the damage control lady. So, of course, racism being practiced there. And other than that, that's all I have to share. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Call her the damage control lady. I love that name calling too. I love it. The damage control lady. When you said that the white woman who leaves and comes, leaves as she please, PTO be damned, you said that someone had a picture of her on a yoga mat and it seemed that had caused a problem or such. Like, was she doing yoga at work, or what was the problem with her being on the yoga mat and there being a picture of this?
She was, it looks like she was actually sleeping down on the ground, like on the yoga mat. It's like a green mat. So apparently there's an image with her on this mat laying down, like actually going to sleep. And I heard that a white woman told her not to do that again, and it doesn't seem like it worked to me. They seem to really be protecting this white chick clique member.
She was doing this at work is what it was, taking these naps on the yoga mat?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And on the image, it's like through, because in that building, the door has like a see-through, like square glass, like glass type of thing where you can see through into the office. And she has the lights off in there and everything. It's just it's bizarre looking in some ways. Like she has these kind of like these kinds of sheets of these decorations where it doesn't look like it's professional to me with what they are using, with what she's using to decorate in that office.
That is so clowning. That is so clowning. She made like a little wellness office for herself. She got like a little nap area with soft lighting, and she probably has like a oil diffuser and one of those yoga balls. Like, what is this, like a private wellness room? Can everybody go in and get a nap on the yoga mat and, you know, stretch out? And, or I guess he did say that they told her, you know, hey, now cut that out. You're not supposed to be doing all this in the workplace. But she, you know, recalcitrant, which I've seen before with white women in particular. You don't tell me what to do. I need a nap from time to time. In fact, I brought those lights from my house so you can get that nice nap lighting. See, where it's soft and ease on the, you can be, come on. I've never had a job where I could chill that hard. I know some people have jobs and such where they have couches on their job and they might be I've never had a job I could chill that hard. I'ma just go and, you know, lay out back here and conk out, catch me if you see, much less the boss says, now, Gus, you stop going back there to nap. You don't tell me what to do. And then got people willing to cover. He said they cover for her. We like old Rebecca. We make sure her nap time. Like, what? Come on. And that's the exact opposite. I say don't decorate. She brought in a yoga mat, soft lights. What does it mean to be white? He said he had not been called a token, but other black people did use that term. I think calling someone a token, name calling. The white person getting a probate assistant. Once again, that's the type of thing where I say, you don't call me no token. Now, he said he's been working at the courthouse for over a decade. He said, I ain't never seen nor heard of no probate assistant. It seems like we, one more time, got a white person. I can't even turn on the computer. What you mean, Photoshop? I need some help. Can we get somebody? How do you turn the computer on? Let's get that one. Oh, okay. We're going to get it done. I just need a little help. A little hand holding and we get this thing done. And they say, okay, no one says, man, we hire some of the most incompetent, lame, because see, my white brother from another weather, he said, he's unprofessional and he doesn't know how to talk to people. That's Gus T all day long. Nobody says, why do we keep hiring all of these unprofessional, unqualified, lame white people? How does that keep happening? Hey, better yet, let's stop doing this. It's got to be some competent white people in Florida, right? What the hell? And if it's not, we ought to write Governor DeSantis, see if we can do something about it. Because it can't just be the millennials are all lame. This would have to be widespread white lameness. Like, what is going on? And if you could hire all these lame white people, I got to get me a probate assistant and all that. He told us last week they were trying to do all this nonsense to make the black people do the white people's work. Why don't you just hire competent white people to begin with? Hey, hire competent non-white people. I said that last week. His mom, he been working there. He been working there for over a decade. Model employee. I call in, I'm dependable, not drunk, not stealing from the petty cash. Hey, black brother, you got any neighbors, cousins, homies, competent, like yourself? Come in, train them. You get a day, no Photoshop? Come on in. We need some folks. Let's get done. No. They get all their lame white homies to come in and nephews and nieces and all the rest of it, and they're not even qualified. They're not even. He said the fella. Remember, he said the white dude, my white brother, don't know how to talk to people. Said they had a job opening for a position where he knew he wasn't qualified. I'm gonna be the first one to put my name up. But you're not even. I feel like I can do a good job. You're not even doing a good job with what you... Man, come on. Let's see. Come on. He said the white chick who was incompetent, they had the black guy defending her. I was hoping that my ears didn't hear it right, like I was being shiftless and lame. He said the black dude, but even that, can't be surprised about that. That is so obviously you'll have a lot of white people who will defend these lame, incompetent white people. That's how they got these jobs to begin with. But he told us at the beginning. He said, "Have I been called a token? No, I don't think so. I don't think they called me a token. But I have heard other black people call a black person on this job. On this job." You got white people that can't even type. If it's a token, hey, you got a job where you did the interview while you were getting your toenails painted, you for sure look like you could be a token. It's a whole lot of white people that's in that category. We weren't calling them tokens. You call another black person token. Imagine that. Now, come on. That's what I mean, though. You can't be once that self-respect has been annihilated and we've been conditioned long time to, oh, yeah. Now, Rebecca, she just needs a little hand-holding. We just, help her, get her through this Photoshop, and everything will be great. This is the same.
Can I add something?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to just say that is accurate. And to add on to it, it was both the black male who was the director and the white guy, unprofessional, the manager. Okay, they both were defending this white chick, and she, I was told, didn't say a word. Like, I guess it was some white code, I guess, or something. But she was also, I'm hearing, was told that, oh, well, you don't have to apologize to her. You don't have, the black person. This white chick don't have to apologize to the black female, because like I mentioned, she did a scoff, to the black person. And walked out of the room, and then I've seen her, cry these tears. I know you mentioned that term, weeping white woman. Like, she'll do that and wearing the Grinch Stole Christmas costume, crying at will. And then I've seen people, crowd around her, center around her, and be tapping on her shoulder. So, the deception and everything. So yeah, she's one of the skilled races, of course.
The weeping white woman. No, and then it is Grinchy season. They get to go and do some decorating and get the green leggings and bring in the holiday treats and decorate. Then they tiptoe around his house. Oh, we got some tinsel. You want us to put a little mistletoe around your? Any hoodles. VGQ, he is a victim, but man, then they even told her, you don't have to apologize to that nigger woman. I didn't intend to, but thank you kindly. Wow. Just wow. I mean, man. Don't get upset at the black person. He didn't tell us that, so great modeling. don't get upset at the black person if they're defending white people, making excuses for racists. You know, it easily could be any of us, you know, or maybe even has been us at earlier points in our life. They're victims of racism. That's the result of all that terrorism and training. They might be thinking that doing this might help them keep their job, which, you know, maybe not. The PTO, the chick that's leaving and was on the yoga mat and that, whatever, man, that's the sort of thing that I would document, because we've heard that a number of times, and that's not specific to the courthouse. That's lots of jobs where they get really serious from time to time about PTO and saying that people are abusing it, or, you know, they have to make a better accounting of the PTO and who's accruing hours or using them or whatever, or loaning them, whatever it is. And then she just come and go as I please, you know. I'm going to leave early today, or not come in tomorrow at all. Like, dang, does she have an unlimited well of PTO? Like, what is going on? You know, like, that is exactly the type of thing I would document. Now, it might not be anything nefarious. Maybe everything is solid. But if we are going to investigate and they come out and get draconian with policy enforcement about paid time off, well then, hey, let's at least make sure. And also document, because, hey, you just want a record. Sometimes they will make exceptions. Sometimes if you don't have PTO hours left, you are still allowed to find ways to take time off. Just if that can be done for one white person, it can be done for others. Sometimes they just need a solid reminder. This has been done before. Happened with PTO quite. I think some of that came up with COVID too. We heard about the pick on the yoga mat. I do not encourage napping in the workplace, because they got cameras and all that. Unless you work in a workplace where it's understood, you know, you have long hours and they have designated like nap areas and such, not where they're telling you, hey, don't be going back there sleeping on the yoga mat no more, that type of thing. Unless it's explicitly stated that we're all right with that, I would not. Now, even just on a general, there's so many pranks and such in the system of racism, that also might be a hazard. I'm snoozing and they come and pour shaving cream all over my head, or just, you know, whatever. Like dump staples all down your trousers or anything. Like, I would not recommend napping at work unless that is authorized, and, you know, you can do so in a safe, maybe behind a locked door. Let's see. We heard it several times. I think he had just told us he had went, I believe, to the post office running errands and such, and while there was some random white chick, and it was something up high she was trying to reach, and as opposed to going to get one of the white people to, you know, help her get this, oh, no, got to get me one of these big strapping niggers. Hey, nigger boy, come here and get my package. I'm good. And we get the same thing. Oh, it's recycling. Oh, it's so, I can't even, where's Leroy? Leroy? She said, Leroy don't even do this route there. But Leroy, we get, and I love it. See there, stay in the question. You don't have to get rowdy. And why are you looking for, well, that'd be a question. Never mind. You just always looking for black people. That's what I say about you. You raise it up. No. He said the black female that he thinks a little bit less confused. Just, white man down the hall. You don't want to gas him? Oh, well, Ted said he's a little busy, and I just wait, leave it. Like, what? What did you say? Like, what? Why can't you just get the? Come on. That's sort of that's what they think of niggers. We just a little slave, and I crack my little whip, and that. See, you got all generations too, because I think he said that was an older white woman at the post office, and now at the workplace when it's, you know, oh my God, I'm gonna break my back with her. He didn't say that was an old white woman. So this spans across all gender, the boomers, the millennial, Gen Z, everybody can agree. Old strapping Leroy, I need my sofa moved. Where is that black boy? Get over here and move that sofa. Get that pat. That's what Leroy's supposed to do. Question. All you have to do is ask questions in the workplace. lethal. And then we got the rowdy at the post office. Heard that one a few times. See, we get where the black people come and they pop on everybody and pow, chop you upside the head and got to do fellatio to get out safely. They don't do all that. White people. Calm, handle things in a much more civilized manner. See. Man, the court, that would count as one of those places. Election violence. Oh my God, I would not be doing no talking about politics at the courthouse. People come in, the civilian. No, I have nothing to say about nothing. Get through the election as safely as possible. I would not, none of those jobs. Just get through it safely. I would be on alert, and I would even request maybe HR can do some sort of training for us or a reminder or something. Just tips for us to stay safe getting through the month, making sure we remain civil, and things to be on the lookout for at those types of places in case people get rowdy, they're mad about the election and all the rest of it. Like, oh, safety, everything, safety. Let's see. Other folks who dialed in, they have, well, we basically, yeah. We did our 3 hours for the broadcast. We'll be here Saturday, normal time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The election charges official in Georgia against Colt 45. They said Colt 45 Gray had a shrine to school shooters. Shrine. I want to see how many. I want to see the shrine, and then I want to see who's on the shrine. I know Reb, vodka. I know they're on the shrine. But who's on the shrine? Is Leroy on the shrine? Had some coward race soldier. Most of the people who do the school shootings are black. Back down, dude. Back. Had the audacity to get white and post books by Peter Langman that he read. Man, I interviewed Dr. Langman and backed him down on that point. But that's so white. I'm an expert on school shootings. Me too. Who's on the shrine? How many Negro school shooters are on Colt 45 shrine? Charged murderer, Colt 45. How many black boys and black girls school shooters are on the shrine? That and more. Compensatory call-in tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Wackiness, violence. That was such a big theme today. Like, man, if I was a child, I would be so scared and lost. So that's all of that. It's the type of things you should be talking about before you get to the bedroom to produce potentially a black offspring. Non-white offspring, period. Sobriety would be best under conditions of white supremacy. We need high-functioning brain computers to solve our problems. Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other black people, victims of white supremacy. We ask that you help us remain patient with ourselves. Remind us to demonstrate the highest levels of black self-respect at all times, in all places, each and every time we are in contact with another black person. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. No name calling black people. Not even tokens. No gossiping. No throwaway offspring. Cow signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. No problem. You're a victim.
Yeah. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning.
Shut up.
The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.